The Cleveland Browns are reportedly making a quarterback change. We're going to talk about that. Plus, the severity of Tyreek Hill's knee injury. Could his career be in jeopardy? Could he be ready for the start of next season? We break that down the latest here on Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's start in Cleveland. Report from CBS Sports. Haven't seen the team Stefanski confirm this yet, but it sounds like they are going to pivot from Joe Flacco to Dillon Gabriel this week as the Browns go across the pond to take on the Minnesota Vikings. It just has not looked good with Flacco. And look, we knew he wasn't going to start all season. The question is how long do you stick with Flacco before you turn to one of these rookies, with the first guy up obviously being Dillon Gabriel. But, 2 touchdowns to 6 picks. These numbers, it honestly has looked worse than that so far this year for Flacco. And I think the Browns are looking at this, and it's like, our defense is actually pretty good. If we got league average QB play, we could be in a lot of these games. The 2023 Flacco magic is gone. When they signed him off the couch, when Watson ripped his Achilles, I can't remember if that was the Achilles that year, whatever the injury was that year, it may have actually been the shoulder, but he rallied them to the playoffs, and it was this awesome story. Goes to the Colts last year, comes back. Can we recreate some of that? Can he at least hold it down for some of this season? He looks like a 40-year-old quarterback. He's just not. He's just, he's valuable to have in your locker room, but he can't play in the NFL anymore. The question is can Dillon Gabriel? So that's what you're going to find out here as they're going to turn to him. In the preseason, put up some good numbers, efficient, accurate, mostly good decisions, did have the one interception there. But, I wasn't a huge fan of his game coming out because he's a good but not great athlete, and at 5'10", I would prefer my quarterback to be an exceptional athlete. And I think he's kind of just a plus athlete. Good, decent arm, not a great arm. So, he's got to throw with timing, anticipation. And, this offense is kind of predicated off that Kevin Stefanski, kind of that old Shanahan scheme where it's all about throwing on time. And I do think that's a strength of Dillon Gabriel. So we'll see if they can make it work. You look at this upcoming stretch, 5 games in 6 weeks. They obviously got the Week 9 bye. I am a little surprised because we talked about this last week. I was like, I don't think he would make the switch until after London. And again, they haven't fully confirmed it, but it sounds like it's happening. But they play the Vikings this week over the pond, at the Steelers next week, Dolphins at home, and then at New England, bye week, and then at the Jets. So, I just thought it would make more sense. Like, okay, if you're going to turn to a rookie, do you really want to do that when you're also preparing to fly into a different country? Just a lot going on. It's already going to be a lot to take in for Dillon Gabriel to get ready for this moment. But to get ready for this moment in Europe, it's just another thing in the mix. But I think the Browns will look at this and they're saying, Flacco's been terrible. Our defense has been competitive. The Ravens are banged up. We don't want to punt on this season completely. So I certainly understand that angle. If they think Dillon Gabriel can help, and if nothing else, you got to find out what Dillon Gabriel and potentially Shedeur Sanders can do. Because now Shedeur Sanders appears to be lurking, right? Now, I think Gabriel is going to get an extended leash here, but the fact that they have turned to him already in Week 5, an extended leash, you give him 5, 6, 7 starts, that's still only Week 12, Week 13. There's still a lot of the season left. If Gabriel really struggles, over a 5 to 6 game stretch, they would certainly, I would think, give Shedeur an opportunity if they feel like he's making some progress and if the team is just way out of contention at that point. Sanders did some decent things in the preseason as well. That first start was much better than that other game he played. And remember, he played the first game, was banged up for the second game, but then played in the third game. And it was a little up and down, but I thought that first game was pretty good overall. But again, and I said this a couple weeks ago, people jumped down my throat, Gabriel's going to get an extended look. They drafted him in the 3rd round. When they drafted him, it was probably not in their plans to also draft Shedeur. But when he slid, whether the owner stepped in or Andrew Berry just decided the value was too good at that point, then they took Shedeur Sanders. So Dillon Gabriel, it's not like if he has 2 bad games, they're going to turn to Shedeur. I just don't think that's going to be realistic. They drafted him higher for a reason. They've given him more reps for a reason. He's been the backup for a reason. He's the guy they preferred over Shedeur in the draft process. But if he plays for 6 weeks and they're 1-5 and he's terrible, then you'd be stupid not to give Shedeur a chance because you need to find out whether they can or cannot play, because if they can't, then you might be in a position where you're drafting a QB again next year, or you're trying to bring in a veteran. So for now, it seems to be Dylan Gabriel's opportunity, but obviously Shedeur Sanders is ready for that chance if that comes sooner rather than later. So predict it for us. How many games will Shedeur Sanders start this year? Well, now that Gabriel's getting a chance in Week 5, I definitely think he will get a chance at some point, whether it's due to injury or whether it's just inconsistent play from Gabriel. Unless Gabriel just comes in, plays really well, which could happen, but seems unlikely for a third-round rookie. You would think at some point Shedeur is going to get that chance. All right, we'll talk about Tyreek Hill and his injury situation coming up here in just a moment, but I do want to show some love to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Hit a nice little 3-player lineup last night. I'm hot, $20 to win 120 on that one, and I'm back for more, and that's how Prize Picks works. Daily fantasy, you just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups, and if you hit on your lineup, you win, sometimes up to 2,000 times your money with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Dylan Gabriel fan, Browns fan, well, you want to pick more on Gabriel's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns this week? You can do so in your same lineup, only on Prize Picks. I got a simple 2-player lineup cooking so far this week. I'll probably add a few more lineups as well. Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones more on their projected passing yards. Both are playing at a really high level. I like both their matchups this week against the Jets and the Raiders respectively. $20 entry to win $60 on this 2-player lineup. Download the Prize Picks app right now. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, Tyreek Hill, could his career be in jeopardy? Well, when we saw the news earlier this morning that not only did he dislocate his knee, not only did he tear his ACL, but he also tore multiple ligaments in that knee. And for a 30-year-old receiver who's predicated on speed and change of direction ability, that's a lot to come back from. Rappaport had that scoop this morning of the full extent of the injury, said it's a long road ahead for 2026, saying that he will have surgery today. Now, Adam Schefter followed up this afternoon saying that the surgery is now complete. Drew Rosenhaus, Tyreek Hill's agent, said, quote, the surgery went, quote, very well, according to his doctors. And Rosenhaus said another surgery will not be needed. Sometimes these injuries, it requires multiple, but apparently they were able to clean it all up in one, so that's huge. And Rosenhaus also added that it's all about the rehab now and said he will play next season. Realistic goal is the start of the season. I mean, if that's true, that's a great outcome. I mean, multiple ligaments, dislocated knee, tore ACL. It sounds similar to the Brandon Ayuk situation. Now, his injury, I think, happened in like week 6 or 7, so a couple weeks later. But, I mean, week 1, I mean, that would be a home run. Hell, if you got him back, week 5 or 6 next year, that would be huge for whoever has him. And that's kind of the next part of the discussion, right? Where is Tyreek Hill playing in 2026? Because he has no guaranteed money left on his contract. His cap hit is over $51 million for next year. He and the Dolphins were kind of already at odds. I think we all agree it would be shocking if he's back in a Miami uniform this next season, especially considering this injury now and the fact that in March, $11 million does become guaranteed. So they either have to cut or trade him before then to avoid that guaranteed money, including a $5 million signing bonus there. To me, you got 2 options. You cut him, because I don't think trading him is going to be on the table with his contract and with his injury now. Or 2, if he and his agent are kind of poking around and thinking that there's not great options, could there be a restructure with Miami on the table where he just takes a big pay cut and plays for like $15 million next year? I guess, but considering the 2 sides have not been, in a great place, I think he just ends up getting cut. Like, I think that's the most likely scenario here. And then he continues to rehab and probably signs with the team around training camp, continues to rehab with said team, and probably sign some 1-year incentive-laden deal, maybe $10 million guaranteed, with incentives up to 20, depending on stats, playing time, etc. Could the Chiefs bring him back? That's been rumored forever. Who knows? But I hope we get to see him play again because he's one of the most electrifying players in the NFL of my lifetime, and felt like he was kind of starting to get his swagger back, and then he rips his knee. So, we'll see how motivated he is. 5 years ago, he said he's going to play until he's 30, and now he's 30 and he's got a serious injury. But sounds like he's motivated to return. So it'll be interesting to see what his future looks like and if he's the same player, because that's a catastrophic injury for a player who plays the way he does and needs that elite speed and obviously, cutting ability and all that stuff. All right, where do you guys think Tyreek Hill plays next season? Assuming he is able to play. Sounds like things went well today. Where do you think he plays next year? Give us a prediction down in the comments below. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to 4 Verts today. We will continue to pump out content. We got my first month power rankings coming out soon. I got a new mock draft cooked up, a lot in the chamber for you guys. So we'll see you guys soon here on 4 Verts. Don't forget to subscribe.